Hi, this is Jen Maleka, the Holistic Health Boss and Functional Health Practitioner, coming to you from the Sacred Valley in Peru this week, where I've been doing some personal self-growth work. So I want to ask you, how much are you worth? If you had to put a price on your head, how much would you be worth? Hundreds, thousands, millions, or billions of dollars? And what are all of the things that you bring to the table in your relationships, in your family, and your work that you see as value? Or what do you value spending your money on? Maybe your daily coffee to get you going in the morning, a weekly or monthly housekeeper to keep you sane. Maybe you love to travel, or you like to buy quality clothing that is comfortable and doesn't fall apart in the washer. Maybe you like to spend your money on organic food, or massages for relaxation, and phone apps that make your life more efficient. What about your health? How much is that worth to you? Now that is the question that I have for you today. For the longest time, I thought that I valued my health because I was doing all of the right things. I was eating healthy, meaning that I was mainly choosing veggies and meat and only occasionally indulging in some type of sweet treat. I was lifting weights, doing yoga or cardio daily, and I was taking high quality supplements to give my body extra nutritional support that I knew that it needed. And I was also seeing a chiropractor, acupuncturist, or massage therapist once every 2 months or so to tune up my body because of all of the physical activity that I engaged in. But it wasn't until I faced bold illness, estrogen dominance, and was diagnosed with Hashimoto's that I realized how much I hadn't really been valuing myself and my body overall. Looking back now, I can see the signs my body was giving me for over 2 years, how it was trying to tell me that something wasn't right, and how I chose to ignore those signs because I had more important things to do or because I didn't have time. How many of you use that excuse too? Not valuing ourselves is at the core of almost every health issue that I see with the people that I work with. With every client I've ever worked with or person that I have spoken to about their health issues, there is always one common characteristic or behavior, a tendency to put others or everything else before self. And I was guilty of this also. Here are some of the ways that I see this showing up with people on a regular basis. People say they don't have time to cook, meaning that maybe they're making everything else a priority over cooking. Or they're not exercise, meaning that they're not making time or not willing to invest in accountability like a personal trainer. Sometimes they're going to bed late, which means that they're not setting healthy boundaries to support an early bedtime and good rest. And others may be working long hours, which usually means that they won't delegate or have a fear of asking for help because they don't want to be seen as less than. And most of us feel really stressed out, and this means that we're not taking the time to de-stress, or we're resisting on spending money on things that would help to reduce stress in our lives. The reality is that we make time and we find money for what is important to us. If your car broke down and you needed to get somewhere, I'm pretty sure that you would find the money to fix it. And we all have the same 24 hours in our day, but how we choose to use that time is what makes all the difference in the world when it comes to your health. A few years ago, when I started my Reiki training, my teacher told me that I had to meditate for 30 minutes, 21 days in a row. Now, my initial reaction was, I don't have time to meditate for 30 minutes every day. I barely had time to relax and watch TV at night with my husband. But I never turned down a challenge, and I wanted to learn Reiki. So making time to meditate was basically part of the deal that I just couldn't pass up. So I somehow figured out how to carve out 30 minutes a day to meditate just one day at a time. And before I knew it, 21 days had passed. Over time, I fell in love with the positive impacts that meditation had on my body. So much that now I not only meditate for 30 minutes once a day, but I actually meditate for 30 minutes twice a day, at least 5 days a week. So how did I find time to do this when I originally felt like there wasn't enough time in my day? I simply decided that I was worth it, that my post-meditation bliss and the benefits my health was getting were more rewarding and more important than some of the other things that I was spending my time on. I let go of the need to feel like I had to tidy up the house at night, and I decided to get up maybe 5 or 10 minutes earlier, and also I just simply let my husband know how important meditation was to me so that we could find other time to spend together, maybe over the weekend or at a different time of day. Now, it's not our fault that we have evolved to not prioritize ourselves or see our self-worth. Somewhere along the line of time for ourselves, voicing our needs or standing up for what we wanted or needed and making ourselves a priority is something that we started to shame upon or started to see as being selfish. But embracing your self-worth and making your health and yourself a priority is far from selfish. It is actually essential for your survival and for your health. If you don't take care of yourself, who is going to? I hear parents say all the time that they're leaving this to your kids or maybe your family members, but is that really fair to burden them when you have the power right now to ensure a better quality of life as you age? So in this week's blog, I just simply want to share with you more about how I wasn't valuing myself, how stumbling upon Hashimoto's really humbled me, and 3 ways that you can start owning your self-worth now so that you can better support your health for the long run and have long-term sustainable results in whatever it is that you are working for. Now, when I was diagnosed with Hashimoto's, I was faced with having to kind of reevaluate my lifestyle to see how it was or wasn't supporting my health in order to try and figure out, 1, how in the heck did I land here in the first place? And 2, how could I recover from this and reverse it and get back to feeling like myself? Although I was doing all of the right things, or at least I thought I was, it obviously wasn't enough or exactly what my body needed. I couldn't just keep doing the same thing over and over and over again, expecting a different outcome for my health and for myself. Something had to change. It was a very humbling experience, to say the least. It forced me to look deep within and to see where I was still not putting myself first, not valuing what I was worth, essentially. So I read a recent passage in one of my spiritual books that describes to a T what I was faced with and what I see most of my clients faced with in regards to trying to make yourself and health a priority that I want to share with you. So here's how the quote goes. Awakening begins with noticing more of what you normally ignore. The process of denial happens so quickly that it is difficult to interrupt it at first. It is that imperceptible flash of feeling you override with a more acceptable thought, the burst of inspiration you judge to be foolish, the presence of greatness that your unworthiness will not allow you to receive, and the true feeling of dislike that guilt shames you to nullify. The mind would have you believe that awakening comes from what you know, but this is not a journey through the mind, end quote. Now think about what that means to you. To me, there were plenty of moments leading up to my diagnosis when I could sense that something wasn't right in my body. I started putting on weight. I wasn't recovering from my workouts well. I didn't have maybe the same energy or endurance. I started grinding my teeth. I had occasional ear ringing, and I had acne for the first time in my life, just to name a few of the signs that my body was trying to give me. But I kept pushing it off, telling myself that I would do something about it soon or eventually. This was the ignoring it part. And judging myself for not exercising hard enough and thinking I must just be out of shape. I was resisting spending money to seek help or actually run some tests to take a look at what was going on in my body. Before I knew it, 2 years had flown by and I had gained 15 pounds total. I had some pretty severe hormonal issues going on and I didn't feel anything like myself in my body. It was very uncomfortable. Over time, if we keep giving ourselves the short end of the stick, it will eventually catch up to us until one day you look in the mirror and wonder, how in the heck did I get here and how do I get out of this place? Now, luckily for me, it wasn't too late and my health issue wasn't critical. I actually caught my Hashimoto's really early and I was able to reverse it very quickly. I honor that I needed to modify my diet, even though that meant eating different than everybody else. I made even more time to meditate to allow my body to heal. I set my ego aside and turned down the intensity of my workouts, even though I didn't want to. I embraced the fact that I had to take even more supplements for a period of time in order to support my body's healing process. And I accepted that I needed to spend money on me in order to get back to where I wanted to be and to get to the bottom of what was happening. Had I owned my self-worth sooner, made time for myself and paid attention to what my body was trying to tell me, maybe I never would have landed myself in such a pickle in the first place, but I can't reverse time, right? So all I can tell you is don't wait until you're faced with a health crisis to value yourself. It's the little things that we do each and every day that either add or subtract value to our self-worth. Think of it like your bank account. If you constantly were withdrawing money for every time that you give to others or give to your work, for every instance that you eat something that isn't right for you because you didn't make time to cook or prepare something, or maybe for every night that you stayed up late burning the midnight oil, for every workout you forced yourself to do, even though that you were tired, and you would find yourself quickly in debt for all of these withdrawals, right? So we have to deposit money into our body bank account just as much, if not more, than we are essentially withdrawing it. So how can you start depositing more than you're withdrawing to build your value and your self-worth? These are some of the tips that I want to share with you today. Anytime you give back to yourself, communicate your needs, and take action to make yourself more of a priority, you build your value. It might seem really uncomfortable at first, I know it did for me, but each value building action you take, your confidence to keep taking action will grow over time. So here are 3 simple ways you can start to reclaim and build value in your self-worth to support your health for the future. Now, tip number 1 is to do one thing a day. Doing just one thing a day for yourself and no one else is one of the simplest and easiest steps that you can take towards building more value and embracing your self-worth. This can be as simple as maybe taking a bubble bath, stepping outside for a break at work, or making 5 minutes to meditate. You'll find that you'll gravitate to these things more often when you consistently do it through the power of positive reinforcement and reward that you'll receive with every single action. Tip number 2 is to hire help, because you can't do it all on your own. Everybody needs help. Oftentimes when my clients run up against excuses about not having time or knowledge to achieve the results that they want, I ask them, what resources or support do you need to make it happen? Do you need to maybe hire a housekeeper or a nanny to free up some of your time? Possibly a personal trainer or a health coach for more accountability and guidance? Or maybe look into a food delivery service to take the work out of it. I have come to know that my time is worth money. If I have to pay someone to do a job that I can do myself just to get a moment of peace and relaxation, it is totally worth it in my book. Now, tip number 3 is to schedule an escape. Your work vacation benefits are meant to be used. That's why you have them. And if you work for yourself, then there's literally no excuse to get away every once in a while. But this is such a common area where people downplay the value of themselves while making work usually more of a priority. Whether it's just taking a half a day off, a long weekend, or several weeks, this is one of the best ways that you can invest in yourself by immersing in nature like I'm doing in Peru this week, or by simply disconnecting from the monotony of your typical day. When you schedule an escape, you will emerge more energized and rejuvenated. You deserve a damn vacation, so take one already. We tend to lean on so much science when it comes to our health, constantly considering eat this, not that, exercise this way, take these supplements, etc. But the way we are acting, the way we are being, and how we are treating ourselves plays just as much a role in the outcomes of our health as what we put in and on our bodies. Valuing yourself creates a positive impact on a cellular level that helps to boost your immune system and your health for the long run. So don't wait until it's too late, until you're faced with a fork in the road or some type of health crisis. Start depositing money in your body bank account today and building your health 401k for the future. As a functional health practitioner and coach, I not only use lab testing techniques, diet, rest, exercise, and supplements and stress reduction approaches to help my clients achieve their results, but I also infuse transformational coaching methods to help them embrace healthy as a way of being to support long-term sustainable results. So if you're looking for guidance on how to improve your health, and if you're ready to invest in your health and yourself, then I would like to invite you to schedule a complimentary Ideal Health and Weight Discovery session by clicking on the link below or going back to the email where you found this. I hope you guys found this helpful and you can start working on building your self-worth today, and I'll see you next week on the blog.